Happy new day, everyone. Okay, so let me adjust this camera a little bit. Yeah, get the brightness back up. Okay, hey y'all. Happy Tap In Tuesday. Um, I am really excited about today's topic because it came to me just now as I was wrapping up my morning walk. And so we're gonna have a quick and like fruitful conversation about the three hidden blind spots that delay your personal and professional growth. So before we get started on that, I wanted to just take a second to bring you guys in, introduce you if you're new to my world, if you're new to these conversations that I come and I have every Tuesday at 10:30 or 11. Be clear. Um, I'm not what people would call like the most timely person, but I'm on my time, and my time is divine time. So we just make it do what it do. Mm. So today's topic, well, let me introduce myself. So I'm Tanisha Ashayomi York Allen. Ew. And I am, excuse me, I am a coach and a consultant. I'm gonna switch cameras real quick. Let's see. My video went away. That's weird. Okay. So I am the founder and CEO of Your Other Mind. We are a coaching and strategic operations consulting firm. I am a coach and I'm a strategic operations consultant. I help people find the courage to make hard choices, whether that's in their personal or their professional lives. And so today Tap In Tuesdays is this ideation from me and my team that we will come in every week and give you guys something to connect to, some piece of like practical advice, some piece of strategic insight. I'm also a spiritual strategist, EFT tapping uh, guide. I am also a gene key specialist and a human design analyst, right? So like there's different tools that I use that make the total of me. So that's me to you. And so part of me doing these Tap In Tuesdays is to bring you guys into the world of like what it means to be really successful professionally and personally. And kind of take your attention off of doing so much and being so aggressive into being so much of what you want and having so much of what you want, right? And that is really my objective and that's really my goal here is to help you guys make those like shifts in your life and whatever like few tips I can offer really clearly and really like concisely to you all. My goal is to offer these tips quickly. They can be quickly integrated somewhere in your business and hopefully you see a result that you're looking for. Um, so that's why I'm here. And so in being here and saying that, um, happy Tuesday. I hope your Tuesdays are going really well. I hope you're having a great day and I hope you have something to write with. Okay. So let's get into it. So when I meet people, when I start consulting or coaching someone, a new client, what people typically do is they bring me their hard things. They bring me um on sorry y'all. My team is reaching out. Okay. So yeah. So when I first meet somebody and they want like help or insight or whatever, um, they bring me into their world. And when they first bring me into their world, they always come with their problem. I don't know if this is the case for other coaches or other consultants, but I know people specifically will bring me a thing and they'll say, "Hey, Tanisha, this is the thing going on with me. What do you think?" Which is great because I'm a projector. So asking me what I think, inviting me to give you critique or feedback or whatever, it really is helpful um, to make sure that like we're giving each other permission to have this conversation. And so that's really nice, right? And what I think people are looking for a lot of times is just clarity into a bigger situation. I think when people ask coaches and consultants to come in and look at something that they're doing, what they're looking for is like a second sight, right? Because they're trying to pursue a goal of like growth or expansion or having all the things that they want. And that's fine. That's great. We want that. However, when I meet people, rarely is the problem that they brought to me the actual problem that they have. A lot of people think they have like a professional problem, they have a business problem, they have a strategy problem. It is rarely that. What people tend to have more so than anything is an execution problem. But the execution problem is symptomatic of a personal problem. So what that means is like people fail to launch things or fail to execute on things that are important to them or fail to show up to things that are important to them, not because of the business thing or the most tangible thing that you can see. It's usually some type of blind spot that they have in their personal lives that they haven't even considered yet, that needs to be considered and shifted and moved so that it can be like changed, right? So that they can get the result that they're looking for. And so when I tell people, I help people find the courage to do hard things, a lot of time, or to make hard choices, a lot of times the choice that they have to make that gets in the way of the execution is the hard thing for them, right? Whether it's taking, if it's a company, taking less resources to produce a better outcome and maximize efficiency, or whether it's looking at yourself in a different way and shifting your perspective to, again, maximize efficiency, right? And get a better result with less resources. It's going to be one of those things, but rarely is the problem that you think you're having in your business, or the problem that you think you're having with your career, or the problem that you think you're having with your life, the problem that you think you're having with your meditation, whatever it is, rarely is the problem that you think you're having the problem that you actually have. Okay. And so in my conversation with this talk with you guys, I want to employ you to have what you need to understand that there are blind spots that you may not be aware of that are strategically, energetically speaking, messing up your ability to produce results in a quick and efficient and growing kind of way. You're producing the same results, right, that you have been producing, but the ability to like really get new outcomes, new things align with the next level and the next level and the next level, that looks a little different. Okay. So hope you got your pen and paper. I hope you're ready because we're going to go quickly. I have my notes over here and I'm going to be like looking between the two. Okay. So I would say the number one blind spot that people have, right? And especially when they're high successful people, especially when they're used to succeeding, right? When they're high achievers, so they're on a path. Your career is thriving, but you're burnt out, or like your life is lovely, but your money ain't money in, right? The biggest problem that I see people have is ignoring their emotions, right? You might hear me say this, and my bad Tanisha, I didn't come here to talk about feelings. I don't get how feelings are related to business, but feelings have a lot to do with what we do or don't do in our businesses, or what we do and don't do in our lives, right? And people, we have a natural aversion to fear. I mean, to not to negative emotions. We have a natural aversion built into our brains and built into our systems that says, okay, if something is scary, I should leave it alone, right? And that sounds like it makes sense, but it doesn't. Because what we also have a natural aversion to is our conditioning to do what we want to do based on other people versus doing what we want to do based on ourselves, right? And so if you're ignoring your emotional state or your feelings, right? I'll bring it down to simple language. If you're ignoring how you feel, you will not get the guidance that you are meant to have. You will not get the guidance that you are looking for to make great decisions, right? And you might be like, okay, but how does like sitting in my feelings help me? I'm going to tell you. Looking at your feelings in the world of metaphysics, they talk about emotions and feelings as like guidance and currency. And I fully believe it. I have seen the results of that in my business and in my own company. And it's so true, right? And the reason why it's true is because when you feel something negative due to something in your business, or you feel something positive due to something in your business, what you're dealing with is like attention and energy, right? What you're dealing with is power, right? That's what feelings have, their own power behind them to either get you off course or to get you on course. And the quicker my leaders in my world can adjust to letting their feelings feel as a means of guidance, the quicker they can get the result that they're looking for. Too many of us have had to hide ourselves at work or hide ourselves in our lives or hide ourselves and our real feelings and thoughts and ideas about so much. So what that means is we begin to pick up a habit of being a performative person, that everything that we do is based on someone else. And to be successful in entrepreneurship or to be successful in business or to be successful in life, you have to be willing to do things based on your own self. You're going to have to be willing to come up with these crazy ideas and trust them. You're going to have to be willing to adjust your energy and your attention and really give yourself permission to follow it, right? You're going to have to give yourself these things. And a lot of people don't want to. You just don't want to because you don't know what it's going to be. But if you could take the power of what makes you angry or what makes you sad or what makes you frustrated, you have a level of clarity, right? Because once you know how you don't like to feel, you can choose how you would rather feel. And when you can choose how you would rather feel, you would choose the things that you would rather bring into your experience professionally, personally, that will help you feel this way. And so, in strategic operations, different from day-to-day operations, we don't day-to-day operations is like making sure that the things do the things. I'm not that girl, right? But strategic high-level operations dictates that like when you want to build a startup, for example, you build that shit exactly as you see it in your head, right? Because if you can build something, create something how you see it in your head, you have a better outcome of the final result looking like that. And too many of us build our lives, our personal lives, our professional lives based on some other foolishness, and we don't lean into the minimum viable product, which is the MVP, which people love using that word and they use it incorrectly, right? But like where it ties into your emotions is how you feel should be the thing that guides you, right? And learning how to do that well is a skill that is not for the faint of heart, but once you master it, you get better at producing minimum viable products in your life and in your business, in your profession and in your personal, right? Which is the minimum viable lifestyle that you like to have, right? And the minimum viable, work schedule that you like to have. And these things, like making these choices using your own inner feelings, like this feels really good, and this feels really good, and this feels really good. That helps you to identify better resources to put in the spaces. That helps you identify better things to put in the spaces. It's a lot that can shift from allowing yourself to feel. Okay, so blind spot number 2, disconnecting from your vision. Okay. Now, a lot of us, we have visions and we have missions and we have things that we are letting ourselves do, right? And we're like, okay, my business exists for this. My life exists for this. I'm here to contribute in this way. I want to contribute in this way, which is fine, right? That's great. But most of us are so disconnected from that we don't show up in that, right? And so what I coach my people to do and my clients and my employees and my team to do is tap into your vision every day. I mentioned something before, not on this particular talk, but in other ways where I think I've said that like we are conditioned to participate in life a specific kind of way that leads to a big collective outcome, right? Like we are really good at jobs because we are taught to want jobs. We're taught to go to school for 8 hours. We're taught to work for 8 hours. So we get really good at performing things that mean things in society, right? So what that means is that you kind of get shit on autopilot. And a lot of people in their personal and professional lives are just on autopilot. There aren't enough check-ins with your vision. There aren't enough check-in with your mission that keep you going. And in my world of Your Other Mind, in the world of Your Other Mind, in our programs and in my coaching and in my consulting, I teach my clients something that we call rich rituals, which is we have this beautiful dashboard that they check every day to check off how they remind themselves of things. And 2 checkpoints of this every day is a self review and a vision review, right? Which I'm literally coaching and forcing my clients to check in every day with your vision and your mission so that you can remember to come off autopilot, right? That your career no longer has to be some performative output based on I went to school for X amount of years, I studied this thing, they taught me how to do this, they taught me how to do that. It gets to be a natural evolution of something, right? and a natural evolution of growth. And if you can learn to look at your mission and vision every day, right, what will happen is you snap your mind out of the habit of being you. You snap your mind out of the idea that your thoughts and your things are so regular. I hope that makes sense, right? And so if you're going to bravely, courageously, like pursue success at greater and greater volumes, and you're having an issue with growth, I can almost bet that you don't check in to know who you are regularly, whether that's Clifton Strengths, Myers Briggs, whatever. You're not checking in enough to say, okay, this is who I am. Let me remind myself. Okay, this is what I'm doing. Let me remind myself. Because if you did that every day, if you had to go on a sales call, you would go into the sales call different. You would be like, oh my God, I'm that person. What? I'm so skilled. What? You would go into relationships with your partners and say, oh my God, I am an amazing da 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 da. I'm an excellent communicator. Da 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 da. Like you would learn to show up in the way that actually aligns with what you're seeing for yourself, what you're desiring for yourself, what you're wanting for yourself. Checking with the vision and the mission, it keeps you aligned with that. And that's very important. Okay. And so I'm gonna talk about this last one because this one people don't think about. Okay. And then the last blind spot that people don't consider is their capacity for success. Now, capacity is not the well, people use the word capacity and I think they mean what I mean, but I'm gonna go deeper into the the levels of it, right? So in strategic operations, we talk about capacity all the time. We talk about minimum viable product. We talk about Kaizen. We talk about continuous improvement. We talk about these things, right? Which basically are concepts that explain, all right, grab the resources, all of them that we currently have, turn on all the things, let it be, and let's see where shit breaks. Let's see where shit breaks so we can see what the max output of this input is, right? So we're talking about capacity. You can liken that to like volume, right? The amount of something, right? That this cup can hold this capacity of smoothie. If you go to the lip to the top of it, you're losing out, right? My hands are kind of ashy because I worked out and I didn't promotion. But yeah, like we're talking capacity, like the ability to sustain a thing. And when you're a high achiever, when you're a very successful person, sometimes you maximize your capacity for success and then you don't increase that capacity. Okay. So the blind spot here is not testing and increasing your capacity for success, which is your volume to hold more. If you want to grow, you need to be willing to study and tap into and tune into your volume, your ability to sustain success. And what container is that going into? Now, most people, if you read The Big Leap, if you haven't read it yet, I recommend it. It's by Gay Hendricks. It's a great and fantastic book, and it kind of explains capacity in a very specific kind of way that I love. But your capacity for success not being trialed and tested over and over and over again through time is going to limit you. You have to get really good at understanding, are you having a blocker here? Meaning, are you metering? Are you measuring? Are you limiting how much of a good thing you will allow yourself to experience, to indulge in, to invite in, right? And when we have that, we're talking about something called an upper limit, right? Which is like the theory that all of us have like an internal thermostat, right? Of like when we will cut off all the good feeling things, all the right feeling things, like there's a set point for everybody. And if you want to push past and grow for real and quickly in your growth, personal growth and professional growth, you're going to have to be good at checking that inner thermostat, right? And raising the bar over time. You're going to have to get good at assessing, have you stopped growing in these areas? Have you stopped allowing yourself to have more of the thing that you're seeking? That's going to be a really good skill to start to practice, right? And when you notice it, first you have to get good at noticing it. But when you notice it, then what you are doing is opening the door to stretch your volume, right? And so I want you to understand with capacity for success that you are your minimum viable product. What you allow yourself to practice as a new habit, as new ideas, as new thoughts every day is pushing a minimum viable version of you. And over time, version one of you and version two of you and version three of you will not look the same. But you got to start somewhere. So if your dream is to be like in personal development, let's say your dream is to be like, I don't know, um, one of my goals, right, is to walk every day. I love walking. First of all, I love it. Don't get to do it enough because I wasn't eating enough. Long story, we'll talk about that later. But let's say one of your goals is to like, you see yourself as that girl who is doing the yogas and the things all the time. Great. What's minimum viable version of that? What current resources, what is your current volume that you have to sustain that? And then what will increase your capacity for more, right? So you might not start out with 7 days a week like you see in your head of yoga. It might just be your current volume will only allow you 2 days a week, 2 days of feeling that good, right? And that's fine. And then over time, the practice of those 2 days of feeling that good stretches your capacity to receive because you're not denying your current level of success. You're saying this minimum viable product is good. I'm going to put it in the market. I'm going to let it do what it does. And from the turning of that, from turning on all capacity, right? We turned on all of what you had to offer this thing, right? One day you're going to get better and you're going to add a third day. And then maybe a week goes by and then you add a fourth. And then maybe you find another class and then you add a fifth because you very intentionally increase your capacity for success by training the thing that you had. You train the capacity of it where it is. Business example, I'll give you a career example, right? When I worked for my last startup, my last tech startup, I didn't like meeting on Mondays, right? And I had to give myself permission to try it. In my head, I was like, it don't make sense to meet on Mondays because I am just coming into the environment. I am overwhelmed. I don't want to feel that way at work. I want to get a clear bearing on my schedule. I didn't want to meet on Fridays because nobody remember anything that you met on Fridays. So you have to meet, if you met on Fridays, you had to meet again on Mondays to do a refresher because people's minds and attention were out the door already. So I tried my capacity. I said, okay, when I come in on Mondays, what I have the ability to do until I like retrain people how to interact with me, right? Maybe like up until like noon. No meetings until 1 o'clock, right? It was what I used to try. And I tried that for weeks. And what I noticed is that I had more room to do that because I was appreciating and enjoying the results that I was getting. And so I stretched my capacity and I was like, fuck it. No meetings on Mondays. No one can meet me on a Monday. And I just, because I had already practiced and increased my volume, right? I continued to increase my volume, right? I was like, okay, all pistons are firing, all systems are active, and it's working. Great. Let's stretch it some more, right? And so I stretched it some more. And then before you knew it, everyone on my team and everyone in this department of business and operations knew you can't meet with Tanisha on Mondays. And she would tell you because I have to get my bearings. And that made me a better leader and a better boss. I did the same thing on Fridays. Before you knew it, the only days that I had meetings were on Wednesdays between a certain time. So if you want to meet with Tanisha and you have to talk about a project, unless she called the meeting, it was not happening on a Monday or a Friday because I had stretched my capacity to be successful in that area. So that's just an example. But yeah, those are mine. So I hope you took away what you need to take away from this is that if you're experiencing delays in your personal and your professional life and you want to have more growth, that these are probably three areas that you have not even considered. Your feelings, your tapping into your mission, vision, and clarity, and your capacity for success. Those are very subtle, hidden reasons, right? Very subtle, hidden areas of things to consider as far as like what you should look at next to have more growth or what you should look at next to make you a better leader. And so that's what I want to tell you guys. Okay, so right now I am going to drop this link. I'm hosting this Thursday a live training, right? It's called Purpose and Plan. And Purpose and Plan is this training that we're going to have. Um, there's a link right there. I might need to go back and post it in the comments. I'll post it in the chat. Okay. So if you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, you'll see these links here. But Purpose and Plan is going to be a beautiful and wonderful chat this week, right? That we're going to have about how to turn off things that you're doing in your business and better align with the goals that you have, right? And so if you're available this week, I highly recommend that you come. We start at 11 a.m. EST. I can remember the time. 11 a.m. EST. And we're going to be talking about some of this stuff. And I'll be doing a training live to give you guys some more stuff. So like there'll be like PowerPoints and all that stuff and people like that. All right. So Purpose and Plan webinar is this Thursday at 11 a.m. EST. How to spot the to-dos that drain you instead of driving you. That's the topic. There's the link. Like I said, I'll come back on around on some of the other platforms, make sure you guys have the link to see it. But yeah, I hope this was fruitful. I hope this was helpful. Share it to somebody who needs to see it, and have a great day. Happy Tap In Tuesday. Peace and be well.